Most personal finance content has an unspoken assumption baked into it. The investing apps target it. The YouTube channels target it. The financial advisor industry targets it. The assumption is that you are earning somewhere north of $80,000 a year, that the question is not whether you can build wealth, but how to optimize the wealth you are clearly already building. This video is not for that person. This video is for the Canadian earning $35,000, $45,000, or $55,000 per year. The person who has heard the TFSA advice and the compound interest advice and the just invest $500 a month advice and thought, genuinely and reasonably, that does not apply to me. I do not have $500 a month. I am not in a position to be thinking about wealth. I am thinking about whether I can cover rent. Here is what that person almost never gets told. Lower-income Canadians have specific, structural advantages in the Canadian tax and benefit system that higher earners do not have. The RRSP works differently for you. The TFSA works better for you relative to after-tax income than for someone earning twice as much. The Guaranteed Income Supplement in retirement provides a floor that changes the math of how much you need to save to be financially secure. And the savings rate that is required to change your financial trajectory is lower than you think. Because starting matters far more than the amount. This video shows you exactly how. With real numbers. At your income. Before the strategy, the honest numbers. Because personal finance advice that does not start from the actual income level is not useful. It is aspirational noise. The honest monthly budget reality at $45,000, $2,900 per month take-home. For a Canadian earning $45,000 outside of a major city, where rent averages closer to $1,200 to $1,500 for a one-bedroom, the budget looks approximately like $860 per month remaining after basics. That is approximately $10,320 per year, before any discretionary spending. It is not a lot, but it is something. And the question this video answers is, what is the most effective thing to do with it? The key insight that reframes the entire conversation. At $45,000 income, a 10% savings rate is $4,500 per year, $375 per month. At 7% annual return over 30 years, $375 per month grows to approximately $453,000. That is a meaningful long-term outcome from a $375 per month commitment on a $45,000 income. Wealth building is not about large amounts. It is about consistent amounts over long periods. Here is the vault. The three specific structural advantages in the Canadian tax and benefit system that lower-income earners have, and that most personal finance content aimed at higher earners never mentions. Advantage 1. The TFSA is proportionally more powerful at lower incomes. At $100,000 income, a TFSA contribution comes from after-tax money, and you have already paid approximately 31% effective tax on that income. At $45,000 income, you have paid approximately 22% effective tax. This means a $7,000 TFSA contribution at $45,000 costs you less in pre-tax earnings. You needed to earn approximately $8,975 to net $7,000 at $45,000 versus approximately $10,145 to net $7,000 at $100,000. The TFSA's tax-free growth benefits everyone equally, but the lower-income earner sacrifices less pre-tax income to fund it. Advantage 2. The RRSP deduction pushes lower-income earners into dramatically lower marginal brackets, or eliminates tax entirely. At $45,000 income in Ontario, the marginal tax rate on income between approximately $40,000 and $55,000 is approximately 29.65%, federal plus provincial combined. An $8,000 RRSP contribution at this income saves approximately $2,372 in taxes, a 29.65% guaranteed return from the deduction alone. But here is the specific, powerful advantage. If a lower-income earner makes a large RRSP contribution in a year of unusually high income, from an overtime bonus, a side project, or a one-time windfall, they can potentially reduce their taxable income to a level where they are in the lowest federal bracket, 15%, and a very low provincial bracket. The RRSP deduction works especially efficiently when used to bring taxable income down through bracket boundaries. Advantage 3, the Guaranteed Income Supplement, GIS, in retirement, provides a meaningful income floor that changes how much a lower-income Canadian needs to save. The GIS is a non-taxable federal benefit paid to low-income seniors receiving OAS. In 2026, the maximum monthly GIS for a single senior is approximately $1,086 per month, on top of OAS of approximately $743 per month. Combined, approximately $1,829 per month, $21,948 per year, in guaranteed, inflation-indexed government income for a senior with little or no other income. Here is the critical implication for wealth-building strategy. TFSA withdrawals do not count as income for GIS purposes. This means a lower-income Canadian who builds their wealth inside a TFSA rather than an RRSP can withdraw from their TFSA in retirement without reducing their GIS entitlement. Their TFSA provides tax-free income on top of the full OAS plus GIS floor. A Canadian who instead builds wealth inside an RRSP and converts to a RRIF, where withdrawals are fully taxable income, risks triggering GIS clawback at retirement, losing a portion of the benefit they paid into throughout their working life. The practical conclusion: for lower-income Canadians, the TFSA is generally the superior savings vehicle, not just for the tax-free growth, but specifically to preserve GIS eligibility in retirement. The RRSP is worth using for specific high-income years or for large deductions, but the TFSA should be the primary long-term wealth vehicle. Here is the exact structure for a lower-income Canadian trying to build wealth, not a high-level framework, a specific, actionable setup. Step 1. Emergency fund first. 1 month of essential expenses in a competitive HISA at EQ Bank or Oaken Financial. At $45,000 income with $2,040 in monthly basics, that is approximately $2,040. Build this before anything else. Without it, any unexpected expense depletes whatever you are trying to invest and resets the system. Step 2. Open a self-directed TFSA at Questrade or Wealthsimple, free to open. No minimum balance. Commission-free ETF purchases at Wealthsimple, and commission-free ETF buys at Questrade. This is where long-term wealth building happens. Step 3. Set up an automatic weekly or bi-weekly transfer. Not monthly, weekly or bi-weekly, aligned with the pay cycle. At $45,000 income, a $50 per week automatic transfer is $2,600 per year, 5.8% of gross income. A $75 per week transfer is $3,900 per year, 8.7% of gross income, and well within the range of the TFSA annual limit of $7,000. Step 4. Buy one all-in-one ETF, XEQT if the home purchase timeline is 10 plus years, XGRO if 5 to 10 years, XBAL if within 5 years of needing the money. One ETF, globally diversified, automatically rebalanced, 0.20% MER. Set up automatic purchases if the brokerage supports it. If not, log in once a month and buy manually. Step 5. Redirect the RRSP refund when applicable. In years where income spikes above normal, overtime, bonus, second job, self-employment income, make an RRSP contribution before year-end to capture the deduction at the higher income level. When the refund arrives, put it directly into the TFSA. Do not spend it. All of these savings rates produce meaningful long-term outcomes at 7% return over 25 to 30 years. A 10% savings rate at $45,000, $375 per month, builds approximately $453,000 over 30 years. A 5% savings rate, $188 per month, builds approximately $226,000. These are real outcomes from realistic commitment levels at realistic incomes. Here is the mindset shift that makes everything else in this video possible. And it is the most important thing in the entire video. Wealth is not built from income. Wealth is built from the gap between income and spending, the savings rate. And the savings rate is largely income independent in one critical respect. A 10% savings rate at $45,000 and a 10% savings rate at $100,000 produce proportionally equivalent long-term outcomes relative to the income level. The person earning $45,000 with a 10% savings rate and the person earning $100,000 with a 10% savings rate are on equivalent financial trajectories relative to their income. The Canadian earning $45,000 who saves 15% is in a better financial position than the Canadian earning $100,000 who saves 5%. Not in absolute dollar terms, but in terms of wealth relative to income, trajectory toward financial independence, and the fundamental discipline that determines long-run outcomes. Why this matters for the lower-income Canadian specifically? The most common response to financial advice on a lower income is, "I'll start when I earn more." This is the most expensive sentence in personal finance, because the years spent waiting to earn more are years of compounding lost, and the habit of saving, once established at $50 per month, scales naturally as income grows. The Canadian who started at $50 per month at 25 and increased with every raise is dramatically better positioned at 40 than the Canadian who waited until they were earning $70,000 to start. The specific three-word mindset shift, from "I can't afford to save" to "I can't afford not to." Every month of not saving is a month of compounding that never happens. At any income level, the lower the income, the more important it is to capture every year of compounding available. Because the income growth path is likely slower, and each year of early compounding carries more proportional weight. Here is the final piece that reframes the entire challenge of building wealth on a lower income. The retirement picture that most lower-income Canadians have never seen calculated. The retirement income floor for a lower-income Canadian. A Canadian who worked for 30-plus years and contributed to CPP receives approximately $800 to $925 per month in CPP at age 65, the average, not the maximum. OAS adds approximately $743 per month, and if their total income is low enough, GIS adds up to approximately $1,086 per month. Combined, approximately $2,628 per month, $31,536 per year, in guaranteed tax-indexed government income, without a single dollar of personal savings. The standard of living that $31,536 per year provides, in a lower-cost Canadian city or rural area, with a paid-off home or low housing costs in retirement, $31,536 per year is a functional retirement income. It is not luxurious, but it is survivable. And for a lower-income Canadian who also built even a modest TFSA, the combination is genuinely comfortable. How the TFSA changes the picture. A lower-income Canadian who saved 5% of a $45,000 income for 30 years has approximately $226,000 in their TFSA. At a 4% withdrawal rate, that generates approximately $9,040 per year, tax-free, with no GIS impact. Combined with the government income floor, approximately $40,576 per year in retirement income. The specific target: a lower-income Canadian does not need a $1 million portfolio to retire. They need enough personal savings to supplement the government income floor to their desired retirement lifestyle. For many, $200,000 to $400,000 in a TFSA is the specific, achievable target, not the $1 million to $1,500,000 figure quoted for higher earners who do not have access to GIS. This is the specific calculation most lower-income Canadians have never seen, and it is the one that makes the wealth-building goal feel genuinely achievable rather than impossibly distant. Let's come back to where we started. Most personal finance content assumes you are earning north of $80,000. This video assumed you are earning $35,000, $45,000, or $55,000. And here is what that assumption reveals when you run the actual numbers. Lower-income Canadians have structural advantages: the TFSA that costs proportionally less pre-tax income to fund, the RRSP deduction that works efficiently in lower marginal brackets, and the GIS in retirement that provides a meaningful floor unavailable to higher earners. The retirement savings target is lower, $200,000 to $400,000 in a TFSA, not $1 million plus. The compound curve is identical regardless of income, $375 per month at 7% over 30 years builds $453,000, whether you earn $45,000 or $145,000. The 5 steps are specific. Emergency fund first, TFSA at a discount brokerage, automatic weekly transfer, one all-in-one ETF, RRSP refund recycled to the TFSA in high-income years. The mindset shift is specific. Savings rate over income. Starting over amount. Now, over later. Wealth building on a lower income in Canada is not a fantasy. It is arithmetic. And the arithmetic, done honestly with the numbers in this video, says it is possible. And that you have specific advantages the mainstream advice never mentions.